Good morning, students. In continuation with yesterday's our reading session, we are going to start with next part of it. Let's continue. Our yesterday's activity to find mistakes in reading will continue as it is in this session also. So here I go. Reproduction in human beings. So far, we have been discussing the variety of modes that different species use for reproduction. Let us now look at the species that we are most interested in, namely humans. Humans use a sexual mode of reproduction. How does this process work? Let us begin at an apparently unrelated point. All of us know that our bodies changes as we become older. Our height increases from class 2nd to class 10th, and so does our weight, sometimes too much. We acquire teeth, we even lose the old so-called milk teeth and acquire new ones. All of these are changes that can be grouped under the general process of growth, in which the body becomes larger. But in early teenage years, a whole new set of changes occurs that cannot be explained simply as body enlargement. Instead, the appearance of the body changes, proportional change, new features appear, and so do new sensations. Some of the changes are common to both boys and girls. We begin to notice thick hair growing in new parts of the body, such as armpits and the genital areas between the thighs, which can also become darker in color. Thinner hair can also appear on legs and arms, as well as on the face. The skin frequently becomes oily and we might begin to develop pimples. We begin to conscious and aware of both our own bodies and those of others in new ways. On the other hand, there are also changes taking place that are different between boys and girls. In girls, breast size begins to increase with darkening of the skin of the nipples at the tip of the breast. Also, girls begin to menstruate at around this time. Boys begin to have new thick hair growth on the face and their voices begin to crack. Further, the penis occasionally begins to become enlarged and erect, either in daydreams or at night. All of the changes take place slowly over a period of months and years. They do not happen all at the same time in one person, nor do they happen at an exact age. In some people, they happen early and quickly, while in others they can happen very slowly. Also, each change does not become complete quickly either. So, for example, thick hair on the face in boys appears as few scattered hairs first, and only slowly does the growth begin to become uniform. Even so, all the changes show differences between people, just as we have differently shaped noses or fingers. So also we have different pattern of hair growth or size and shape of breast or penis. All of the changes are aspect of the sexual maturation of the body. Why does the body show sexual maturation at this stage? We have talked about the need of specialized cells type of cell types in multicellular bodies to carry out specialized functions. The creation of germ cells to participate in sexual reproduction is another specialized function, and we have seen that plant develop special cells and tissue types to create them. Human beings also develop special tissues for this purpose. However, while the body of the individual organism is growing to its adult size, the resources of the body are mainly directed at achieving this growth. While that is happening, the maturation of the reproductive tissue is not likely to be a major priority. Thus, as the rate of general body growth begins to slow down, reproductive tissues begin to mature. This period during adolescence is called puberty. So, how do all the changes that we have talked about link to the reproductive process? We must remember that the sexual mode of reproduction means that germ cells from two individuals have to join together. This can happen by the external release of germ cells from the bodies of individuals, as happens in flowering plants, or it can happen by two individuals joining their bodies together for internal transfer of germ cells for fusion, as happen in many animals. If animals are to participate in this process of mating, their state of sexual maturity must be identifiable by other individuals. Many changes during puberty, such as new hair growth patterns, are signals that sexual maturation is taking place. On the other hand, the actual transfer of germ cells between two people needs special organs for the sexual act, such as the penis, when it is capable of becoming erect. In mammals, such as humans, the baby is carried in the mother's body for a long period and will be breastfed later. The female reproductive organs and breast will need to mature to accommodate these possibilities. Let us look at the system involved in the process of sexual reproduction. Male reproductive system. The male reproductive system in figure 8.10 at the side of this text is shown consists of portions which produce the germ cells and other portions that deliver the germ cells to the site of fertilization. The formation of germ cells or sperms takes place in the testes. These are located outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum because sperm formation requires a lower temperature than the normal body temperature. We have discussed the role of testes in the secretion of the hormone testosterone in the previous chapter. In addition to regulating the formation of sperms, testosterone brings about changes in appearance seen in boys at the time of puberty. The sperm form are delivered through the vas deferens, which unites with a tube coming from the urinary bladder. The urethra thus forms a common passage for both sperms and urine. Along the path of the vas deferens, glands like the prostate and the seminal vesicle add their secretions so that the sperms are now in a fluid which makes their transport easier, and this fluid also provides nutrition. The sperms are tiny bodies that consist of mainly genetic material and a long tail that helps them to move towards the female germ cell. Female reproductive system. The female germ cells or eggs are made in the ovaries. They are also responsible for the production of some hormones. Here the human female reproductive system is given, where the various parts like ovaries, fallopian tube, uterus, cervix and vagina is shown in this figure. When a girl is born, the ovaries already contains thousands of immature eggs. On reaching puberty, some of these start maturing. One egg is produced every month by one of the ovaries. The egg is carried from the ovary to the womb through a thin oviduct or fallopian tube. The two oviducts unite into an elastic bag-like structure known as the uterus. The uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. The sperm enters through the vaginal passage during sexual intercourse. They travel upward and reach the oviduct, where they may encounter the egg. The fertilized egg, the zygote, gets implanted in the lining of the uterus and starts dividing. We have seen in earlier sections that the mother's baby is designed to undertake the development of the child. Hence, the uterus prepares itself every month to receive and nurture the growing embryo. The lining thickens and is richly supplied with blood to nourish the growing embryo. The embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of a special tissue called placenta. This is a disc which is embedded in the uterine wall. It contains villi on the embryo side of the tissue. On the mother's side are blood spaces which surround the villi. This provides a large surface area for glucose and oxygen to pass from the mother to embryo. The developing embryo will also generate waste substances which can be removed by transferring them into the mother's blood through the placenta. The development of the child inside the mother's body takes approximately 9 months. The child is born as a result of rhythmic contraction of muscles in the uterus. What happens when the egg is not fertilized? If the egg is not fertilized, it lives for about 1 day. Since the ovary releases the egg every month, the uterus also prepares itself every month to receive a fertilized egg. Thus, its lining becomes thick and spongy. This would be required for nourishing the embryo if fertilization had taken place. Now, however, this lining is not needed any longer, so the lining slowly breaks and comes out through the vagina as blood and mucus. This cycle takes place roughly every month and is known as menstruation. It usually lasts for about 2 to 8 days. Reproductive health. As we have seen, the process of sexual maturation is gradual and takes place while general body growth is still going on. Therefore, some degree of sexual maturation does not necessarily mean that the body or the mind is ready for the sexual act or for having and bringing up children. How do we decide if the body or the mind is ready for the major responsibility? All of us are under many different kinds of pressures about these issues. There can be pressure from our friends for participating in many activities, whether we really want to or not. There can be pressure from families to get married and start having children. There can be pressure from government agencies to avoid having children. In this situation, making choices can become very difficult. We must also consider the possible health consequences of having sex. We have discussed in class 9 that disease can be transmitted from person to person in a variety of ways. Since the sexual act is a very intimate connection of bodies, it is not surprisingly that many diseases can be sexually transmitted. This includes bacterial infections such as gonorrhea, syphilis and viral infections such as warts and HIV/AIDS. Is it possible to prevent the transmission of such diseases during the sexual act? Using a covering called a condom for the penis during sex helps to prevent transmission of many of these infections to some extent. The sexual act always has the potential to lead to pregnancy. Pregnancy will make major demand on the body and the mind of the woman, and if she is not ready for it, her health will be adversely affected. Therefore, many ways have been devised to avoid pregnancy. These contraceptive methods fall in a number of categories. One category is the creation of mechanical barrier so that sperm does not reach the egg. Condoms on the penis or similar coverings worn in the vagina can serve this purpose. Another category of contraceptives acts by changing the hormonal balance of the body so that eggs are not released and fertilization cannot occur. These drugs commonly need to be taken orally as pills. However, since they change hormonal balances, they can cause side effects too. Other contraceptive devices such as the loop or the copper T are placed in the uterus to prevent pregnancy. Again, they can cause side effects due to irritation of the uterus. If the vas deferens in the male is blocked, sperm transfer will be prevented. If the fallopian tube in the female is blocked, the egg will not be able to reach the uterus. In both cases, fertilization will not take place. Surgical methods can be used to create such blocks. While surgical methods are safe in the long term, surgery itself can cause infection and other problems if not performed properly. Surgery can also be used for removal of unwanted pregnancies. These may be misused by people who do not want a particular child, as happens in illegal sex selective abortions of female fetuses. For a healthy society, the female male sex ratio must be maintained. Because of the reckless female feticides, child sex ratio is declining at an alarming rate in some sections of our society, although prenatal sex determination has been prohibited by law. We have noted earlier that reproduction is the process by which organisms increases their populations. The rate of birth and death in a given population will determine its size. The size of human population is cause for concern for many people. This is because an expanding population makes it harder to improve everybody's standard of living. However, if inequality in society is the main reason for poor standards of living for many people, the size of the population is relatively unimportant. Questions, what we have learned, and exercises. So here we have finished reading of our chapter. In tomorrow's video lecture we will start actual teaching of this chapter. Okay, so have a good day, have a nice day. Thank you.